There's an ongoing missing persons case that I want to talk to you guys about. It's out of Georgia. I really want to spread the word about this young man. I've been seeing his mom posting on Facebook.
If y'all know people and places y'all can put me in front of to help me get this out there, that would be greatly appreciated. Because like I said, I'm way past the malfunctioning stage. I'm gonna be honest with you. For the last couple of days, I haven't really been mentally here. I have really mentally checked out. But sitting there today watching my son graduate, it just gave me a new fire. Like, it gave me a new fire. I know I'm capable. We're all capable. And I'm just needing help.
His disappearance is very mysterious, so I definitely want to talk to you guys about it, see what your thoughts are. And if you are familiar with the Whitesburg area of Georgia, definitely let me know in the comment section, because I think it can be super helpful when someone who actually lives in the area that we're talking about gives their input. The man who has gone missing is a 25-year-old named Malik Polk. He lives in Coweta County, Georgia, which is about 30 miles or so outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Malik is his mother's eldest son, and she says that he's very bright. He's a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and you can tell that he has great relationships with his family, especially his mom. Malik last spoke to his family on May the 17th and was reported missing on May 19th. His mother is named Sharita Hampton, and she's been trying to get the word out about her son and organize private search parties for him as well. After they reported him missing, his mom would learn that the last day he was actually seen was May 18th, and he was seen out in a town called Whitesburg, which is a super rural area in Georgia. It's about an hour away from where he lives. It's in Carroll County, and it's about 45 miles or so outside of Atlanta. Police were able to determine that he went out to Whitesburg through the use of CCTV in the area as well as his phone. So his phone was pinging, and it pinged all the way from his home all the way out to Whitesburg. And using this data, they were able to actually pinpoint which property he ended up at. He was specifically seen near Shiloh Church Road on the property of a man named Jim Dillard. Mr. Dillard would say that the evening of May 18th at around 5 or 6 p.m., a young man that looked like Malik came up to his back door on his property. This encounter spooked the Dillards. Mr. Dillard and his wife were inside the house, and it spooked them because Malik didn't come to the front door. He went to the back door. And Mr. Dillard also said that he seemed like he was kind of out of it. Malik's mom would end up speaking to Jim, and they would tell her that they flashed their firearm at Malik to get him to leave. And that when Malik saw the firearm, he ran off into the woods without saying anything at all. And that was the last time that the Dillards saw him.
And the neighbor, the guy, he was like, if he would have caught it before he knew that, you know, the situation with my son, he would have tried to do something different. All he knew is that my son was banging on his back door and jiggling his handle, you know. And that goes for anybody. I can understand that. If it's late at night and you're not, I don't really have guests like that coming down my street, I get it. You understand? Because I'm realistic about what is going on.
According to them, there is a lake to the right and a field to the left, and he made a left. He went up towards the field, which leads out to a wooded area, and after the wooded area, it leads out to the road. That road eventually leads out to Highway 5. And there's not a whole lot going on in this area. It really is a pretty secluded area. Just to look at it with you guys in real time. So we have Shiloh Church Road, and we believe that the home was in this area. So I'm gonna pull up the terrain view. And this is potentially the lake. We're not 100% sure. But if he was in this area here and he ran this way, then you can see how he would eventually potentially either end up here on this dirt road and then go out to Shiloh Church Road, or run this direction, come out to Shiloh Church Road. And if I zoom out, you can see Shiloh Church eventually leads to Highway 5. So if you take a look here, it's very obvious how few homes are in the area. Everything is very spread out and densely wooded. But this is the area that Malik was last known to be in. So a couple questions came to my mind right away, which is, why would he go to the back door? That's number one. And number two is, why would he run off into the field and into the woods if he had his vehicle? So we know that he pulled into the driveway in his car. He left his car running. He left his cell phone and his wallet in the car as well. And that's when he approached the Dillards' back door. So it's very strange that instead of running to his car to drive off, he just ran away on foot. And knowing that he didn't have his cell phone or his wallet, he wasn't in a position to pay for anything. So when he ran off on foot, then he couldn't order an Uber without his phone or his wallet. He couldn't pay for anything, really. So it really is suspicious, because we know that he would need money, but also everyone takes their phone with them everywhere. I'm just trying to put myself in that position, and I would have taken my phone with me from the car just to walk to the front door, because it's just a habit that most of us have now, where we keep our phone on us at all times. We know that Malik didn't know the Dillards, but even if he did know the Dillards, he most likely, under normal circumstances, would have taken his phone even with him to the front door, because if they don't come to the door, then you can text him and say, hey, I'm outside. So it definitely stood out to me as strange that he left his phone and his wallet in the car, and that he left his car running and never returned to it. About a week after Malik went missing, police did launch a search, and they searched about 2,000 acres of land. They used drones in the sky, they used four-wheelers on the ground, they sent out dive teams to search in the lake, all to no avail. They also used search dogs, but none of these efforts resulted in him being found. And I just want to put out there that in the week before the police actually started searching, his loved ones were already out there searching. There's one friend that his mother talks about who was out there from the very beginning, once they found out that he was out in this area. So it is unfortunate that the police waited a week, because in that time frame, not only did it rain, which affected the scent that the dogs could pick up on, but of course we know that when someone's missing, if they're not found within that first 24 to 48 hours, it makes finding them extremely difficult.
I have gotten report from the neighbors around in that area that they did jack. Their search was trash. They didn't put enough effort into it. So things about this story is really, really fishy. You know? It's really, really fishy. The timeline of him being lost in the woods at 6 o'clock, my son wouldn't have been lost in the woods in the daytime at 6 o'clock, even on the psychotic break. Because I've seen him when he's going through things, I've seen how his mind clicks and he zones in. He zones in, he focuses, and he scrambles to get things done. So I know in the state of mind that he would have been in, he would have been like, oh, I got to get the hell out of here. And he would have been trying to find his way to a road. So I don't know if this is an opportunistic kidnapping, somebody that was claiming that they was going to help my son and it really wasn't help. Like, as humans, we watch enough of this stuff every day. Things are not adding up in those woods. And my son, he is smart. We're talking about, this is 7 days. We're talking about 7 days and it's no trace. The dogs haven't been able to pick up a scent. Like, explain to me, Carroll County, because I'm not understanding. What I'm more so furious. And then on top of that, Mr. Wayne, who was a neighboring resident out there, he had posted videos of a surrounding area that has not been searched. Do you know Carroll County asked them to take it down? For what reason, I'm not for sure, but I need answers. I'm not at the point of being emotionally unstable at this point. I'm furious. Because these are the neighbors telling me this. These are the neighbors that have searched their creeks, their backyards, their acres, and it's no sign of my son. I didn't feel my son in there. The path that we took to the Chattahoochee did not add up to my son running full speed through that. Those woods are thick, okay? It's thick. And in the daylight, I don't see my son running through that. I see him trying to figure out where he is and what direction he can take, because each one of those wooded areas leads into somebody's backyard. My biggest issue is where the gentleman that said that we couldn't get on his acres until Carroll County or special authorities reach there. It's supposed to be a big search team out there on Tuesday. I will be out there on Tuesday because I have to know what kind of search are y'all really trying to do, because from my knowledge, y'all have not done nothing. They're not out there today because today is a holiday. So things will pick back up on Tuesday. And my question is, if it was one of theirs, would a holiday even matter? Would a holiday matter? I don't think so. But they want me to care about a holiday when my son has been missing for 7 days and I have no answers. Now they're saying that it's supposed to be a search warrant so they can go through his car for some clues, and we're supposed to be able to get the car back. But that's still not answering my question, because before it started pouring down on late Monday night or early morning, they could have had, hey, let's get out here. We're 30 minutes behind. We're 30 minutes behind this kid. Why was it not an eager moment for Carroll County or Coweta County to get out here and immediately get on him? Y'all would have been right on his trail.
So something that we do know is that the dogs were able to pick up on Malik's scent, and they followed it all the way out to the road, and then it stopped abruptly. It stopped, according to what I was able to find from his family, it stopped out near Highway 5, which is interesting. But unfortunately, it didn't pick up anywhere else. There were multiple dogs that searched, and the scent stops in this place, and then that was it. Now, because of the rain, it's possible that his scent was somewhere else, or it did pick up further along, but the rain washed it away. We don't know. But just given that it did stop abruptly, that calls into question, okay, did he get into a car with someone along Highway 5? Did someone see him on foot and offer to help him? Someone who maybe had bad intentions? Was he hitchhiking? There's just so many questions, but his scent stopping suddenly could potentially be a big clue. But like I mentioned to you, they did find his car. I believe it was on the Dillard's property. I didn't see that actually written anywhere, but you can kind of put two and two together because it was said that he got out of his car and left it running, and also the Dillards said that he parked in their driveway. So I believe that that is where his car was found. And again, his car was left running. He never turned it off when he got out of it. Malik's phone was turned off around this time, so it last pinged out in the Whitesburg area, and that was it. It never pinged again. And they actually got search warrants for his electronic devices, for his car, I believe, and they also did a search of his apartment. But as far as we know, they didn't find any signs of foul play, and whatever they are finding on the electronic devices hasn't been released yet. The police are also trying to get surveillance footage from any businesses in the area. I showed you on the map there isn't a whole lot going on in this area, but the businesses and maybe the gas stations that are there could potentially help if they have any footage of Malik on their CCTV. He showed up in the evening time, but there was still about 3 hours of daylight left. And his mom said, just given the time of day that it was and her experience going out there to search, he would have been able to see, even though it's a densely wooded area, he would have been able to see where he was going. So hopefully he walked somewhere to where he became visible by someone's camera. There's a church in the area. I'm curious about if they have cameras as well. But again, we're still waiting for information. One thing his mom has talked about is the fact that it took an entire week for the police to actually start searching. She said there was a back and forth between which county was going to do what in terms of the search, and that delayed everything.
It took them a week to get to that point. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just felt like it wasn't a sense of urgency. Had things been handled a little bit, had it been done more on the first day when this happened, you know what I mean? I don't think I would be here 2 weeks later, day 16, trying to figure it out. I don't think it was a sense of urgency. It was too much arguing back and forth between counties on who should do what.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? So that they didn't get out there till a week later. Mind you, Corey had been out there every single day walking those woods.
Right. Yes, a friend of his spoke with me and did relay that information over to me. A lot of area had been searched before law enforcement got involved, right?
Right. Yes.
This was a week later them getting involved.
So much can happen in a week. We know that the first couple days, those precious moments, have to be capitalized on. The longer it drags on, the worse the odds of finding the missing person are. So I understand her frustration and truly feeling like there was a lack of urgency in her son's disappearance. They may have been able to find more clues if they went out sooner, maybe footprints that could have gotten washed away, or maybe the scent, like we talked about with the dogs, that could have been more prominent for the dogs to follow. Or maybe they could have found Malik himself. We don't know. Did he trip and fall and get hurt, and then someone came across him who had bad intentions? The man whose property, the Dillards, that he was on, they have been very open with Sharita, according to her. She said that they've communicated with her, they've opened their doors to her. She seems comfortable with their story that they just showed the firearm to run him off. I'm not trying to speak for her, of course, but just trying to give a little bit of context of what I have seen. Of course, if his family sees this, feel free to let me know of any clarifications. I'll be happy to fix anything. But what makes this case really strange is that Malik had no ties to Whitesburg whatsoever. He didn't know anyone in this area. His mom said he'd never been out in this area. No one from Whitesburg has come out to say, yeah, I knew Malik, he was coming to see me. So how he even came to be out in this area or why is still a mystery. It just seems really strange though that he parked in the driveway and then went to the back door. I saw someone online speculating that perhaps a mental health crisis could have been happening, or that maybe he thought he was at someone's house that he knew when he really wasn't. But just for it to be so far from his home and in an area that is it's not familiar to him, it just causes so many questions to come up.
How we know that he's not in a hospital or in jail or anything like that in Mississippi? Because again, you know, they're thinking that my son suffered from a psychotic break that sent him on this, you know, I don't know. And I know he has been struggling. He has been struggling mentally. But it's like this. If I know you're going through something, or you know things might not be going as they plan, we don't know how people may take that. We don't know what another person is feeling. So for my son to be at this breaking point with himself, to the point where that night when he pulled up into that gentleman's driveway, I want to say that he thought he was going somewhere familiar. But when you're on a psychotic break, your brain is logically telling you like this is where you're supposed to be, and you're not supposed to be there. You're not even in the area where you're supposed to be.
Malik is 5'9", 150 pounds, and he was wearing a white t-shirt, blue jeans. If you have any information about his whereabouts, please contact the Coweta County Sheriff, and I will have their information in the description box for your reference. I've never been to Whitesburg, but on the map it just looks like a very, very small town. There's not a lot out there that would give him a reason to visit, so I just really wonder what made him go out there that day. But I wanted to share with you a little bit of information that I've learned about missing persons. I was shocked to learn this number actually. There's 90,000 active missing persons cases at any given time as of 2026. There are also 15,496 active unclaimed persons in the United States as of April of 2026. So that made me wonder, if there's so many missing people and there's so many unclaimed, unidentified people, how many of those could potentially be matched up? How many people aren't missing at all? They've passed away, but they remain unidentified, so they're still technically listed as a missing person. If someone goes missing in one part of the country and then turns up in a completely other part of the country, which has happened in stories that we've talked about, it can take years and years and years for their remains to be matched to their identity, unfortunately. I found it interesting that certain states have higher missing persons cases. It's probably relevant the actual population of the state, but 3 of them stood out, which was Florida, California, and Texas. Florida has the highest number of missing persons in the month of April of this year, which was the last data that I could find. They had 211 people reported missing in Florida in April. And then Texas was next at 61, and California after that at 57 missing persons. Even though African Americans only make up 13% of the population, up to 40% of missing persons are people of color, which is very interesting. And we know that these cases are severely underrepresented in the media and they receive a lot less news coverage. But when someone goes missing, there are 5 factors to consider that put them in a more vulnerable position, that they could potentially be harmed. And those 5 things are being a child, suffering from mental illness or depression, being elderly or living with dementia, being a person who lives with suicidal thoughts, and those living with a disability or those who have gone missing without life-saving medication. I did also see a statistic, people between the ages of 21 and 30 are among the highest percentages of people that go missing, which is very, very interesting. The first step to keeping ourselves and our loved ones safe is awareness. So I think it's important to know information like this, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. It's very scary because anyone can become a missing person at any time. We talk about these cases and we dive into the details, but we never consider, many of us never consider that it could be us or someone that we really love and care about. But that is all I have for you today. Definitely let me know what you think about this one in the comment section down below. My thoughts truly go out to Malik's family. I'm hoping for a swift resolution and for answers to come out very, very soon for them.
So yes, they are getting to the point where there is fire, it's moving, things are igniting, and they're starting to see that I am very serious as a mother. I have a family behind me. Malik has a community behind him, and your post is your post, you're sharing your prayers, something is being answered. You know what I mean? We may not be able to see it at the present moment, but little by little, things are unfolding, and I'm getting closer and closer to bringing our son home. Help us find Malik, y'all. Thank y'all so much.
It's been almost a month, and I can only imagine what his mom and his siblings and his family is going through in his absence. I am working on, at this point, 2 cases a week, so if you have any cases that you would like for me to look into, definitely let me know in the comment section down below. There's a few cases that I am in the process of researching, and so that I can bring them all to you guys. But when I see a missing persons case that's current and ongoing and that's not really getting the coverage that it needs, I think it's important for me to bring that to the forefront, because that is where my reporting can be of most help. So all right, that's where I'll leave you guys. I will see you in the next one.